Public humiliation. It's a punishment employed for centuries to chastise wrongdoers, but few have done it better or more unbelievably than the folks of 16th century England.
In 16th century England, it was far more common to drink beer than water, especially in cities like London.
Anyone can brew their own ale and serve it and sell it. It's the Wild West of pub culture.
And because beer is so common, it's not unusual to see people staggering drunk in the city. So you have an outbreak of public drunkenness that becomes a real problem in the community.
Then, Parliament decides they must do something about it.
The 16th century killjoys in Parliament come up with the Alehouse Act of 1551. It makes public drunken disorderly conduct a civil offense.
The way it works is that the first time you are drunk in public, you have to pay a fine, and it's 5 shillings, which is about 8 days' worth of wages for a skilled tradesperson.
As painful as it is to cough up that kind of cash, repeat offenders face paying a much higher price: their dignity.
The act is difficult to enforce because public drunkenness is common, but repeat offenders are nailed with what is called the drunkard's cloak.
The drunkard's cloak is a beer barrel with a hole in the top for your head. It comes down over your shoulders, and if you're lucky, there'll be holes in the sides for you to put your arms through.
The offender would be forced to wear this barrel and parade through the town, and then people could throw things at them and yell insults, basically humiliate them with the idea that this would prevent the drunk person from becoming drunk in public again.
It becomes the original walk of shame.
The drunkard's cloak punishment is used so often in the hard-drinking town of Newcastle upon Tyne that it's sometimes called the Newcastle cloak. You're not just trying to shame one person, you're trying to shame the entire community out of public drunkenness, because they're going to see people walking up and down in this perpetual drunkenness walk of shame and say, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to wear the drunkard's cloak.
Once the drunkard's cloak takes off across England, it spreads into other countries across Europe.
It is adopted in Spain. It's adopted in Denmark. In Germany, it's now known as the Schandmantel, or literally, the coat or the cloak of shame. Now, German authorities add a particular twist. They line the barrel with sheet metal so that wearing it becomes not only personally embarrassing, but a physical affliction as well.
If you're wearing the Schandmantel in public, get ready for some rotten vegetables, because your peers and your neighbors are encouraged to hurl rotten refuse at you while you take your walk of shame.
The practice even makes its way to America.
In 1863, in the state of Maine, a Civil War-era lieutenant forces 2 of his recruits to walk around wearing the barrel of shame and also carrying signs saying, I'm wearing this for being publicly drunk.
The men are mercilessly razzed by their peers and fellow soldiers. According to the lieutenant, they'll never get drunk in uniform again. Turns out wearing a barrel is the universal drunkard's walk of shame.
Centuries later, public shaming still proves an effective form of punishment, especially when one Texas judge opts for something unbelievable.
It's 2010 in Texas, and Eloise and Daniel Morales are in a courtroom waiting for their sentence. Eloise is an employee of Harris County. She and her husband have taken over $250,000 from a fund set aside for victims of crime called the Harris County Crime Victims Fund.
As an employee of Harris County, Eloise identifies a loophole that allows her to divert money orders and cashier's checks away from the Crime Victims Fund and into her personal bank account.
She's taking money from people who do need the money, and she's using it to do nights on the town, buy new clothes. Her and her husband are having a ball.
In this case, the judge, Kevin Fine, orders them to pay back the $255,000 that they took over a period of 10 years and to also serve 180 days in the Harris County Jail.
But Judge Fine is not done serving out his justice yet. He also says, since you stole from the people of your community, we also want the people in the town to know what exactly it is that you did.
Then the judge adds something, bound to make them unpopular with their neighbors.
He orders them to place this giant sign in front of their house, which reads, the occupants of this house, Daniel and Eloise Molasses, are convicted thieves. He also says that the couple, for 5 hours on the weekend, for 6 years straight, must wear a sign that says, I am a thief, I stole $250,000 from the Harris County Crime Victims Fund.
They have to wear sandwich board signs over their bodies and walk around public streets at busy intersections in busy shopping districts. In fact, some of the same places where they might have spent some of this pilfered money.
This is a really personal sentence, and the judge does build in a fail-safe. If they fail to complete any part of their sentence, if they take the sign down, if they miss a weekend, they will have to go to prison for up to 10 years.
Newspaper articles report that every single weekend, this couple can be seen wandering the busy intersection of Post Oak and Westheimer with nothing but their signs and just these sullen grimaces on their faces. But at the same time, one could also argue it is still better than prison. At least you get to be outside.
You know what they say? The couple that's shamed together stays together. Next up, a judge who some might say takes his punishments a bridge too far.
It's a beautiful sunny spring day in Painesville, Ohio, and motorists are met with a crazy sight, a full-grown man in a chicken suit.
You might think that he is advertising for a new fried chicken restaurant, or he's one of those sign spinners trying to get people to go inside. But that's actually not what's happening at all.
Oddly enough, the man in the chicken suit is serving a very unusual sentence from Judge Mike Cicconetti. Judge Cicconetti is famous for handing out unusual sentences where the punishment fits the crime.
You might be wondering, what did this man do to end up here?
2007, Fabian Rodriguez Ramirez thinks he's soliciting prostitution from a sex worker, but is actually an undercover police officer.
Judge Cicconetti gives Rodriguez Ramirez a choice. Either 30 days in the slammer or wear a chicken suit out in public on a busy street.
Rodriguez Ramirez takes the chicken suit, and Cicconetti adds an intriguing side order.
It seems that Judge Cicconetti is also a bit of a movie buff. So inspired by the 1982 film, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, he declares Rodriguez Ramirez, in addition to the chicken suit, must have a sign, "No Chicken Ranch in Our City," which alludes to the Chicken Ranch brothel in the movie.
But does this bizarre kind of punishment actually work?
Judge Cicconetti has an amazing track record of these unusual and peculiar punishments that also seem to be quite effective. So much so that he has a 10% recidivist reoffending rate compared to the national average of 75%.
Most states allow judges to put their own spin on sentences, especially if it's for low-level misdemeanors. But some states even allow it for more serious types of crimes. So in the past, this judge has sentenced a man who called a police officer a pig to stand next to a pig pen with a sign that says, "This is not a police officer."
He even sentenced a couple guilty of stealing a baby Jesus statue to dress up as Mary and Joseph and walk through town with a mule.
With roughly 40 cases a day being adjudicated in his courtroom, Judge Cicconetti is sort of single-handedly overhauling the Ohio judicial system and helping with jail overcrowding.
Just like when your mom pulls out an embarrassing baby photo, some experiences never leave you.